Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about what has happened in my past lives. Frankly, I as always, know about my death a bit early. I know that when I go get my surgery, they're going to put salt in it and splinter it at my liver, and it's not a good feeling, knowing that I'm going to be canceled that way. But here's what I've done. I've sued the government to save my life and put me into protective custody and hide me from the world, and they did once. Frankly, it didn't pan out the way they wanted 20 years down the line. And I've also I've asked them to change one thing, just anything, and they haven't been able to change it. And I don't know if there's just a few elite people that have control over eternal change, because what they're doing probably is raping everyone slowly, very slowly. And it's sad to think that only a few people have the power to change everything in eternity. That means change the population, change the demographic of the world, the boundaries of the world, everything. So it's really hard. I mean, I've traveled to California. I went to see Intel. Intel said I'd die. They were going to kill me because I went there and I asked if they could change me, and they said yeah, but they never did. And then I went to General Dynamics, and they didn't change me at all. So I'm frustrated. Why? Because I want my full life. I want my family back. That's all I want. I don't want all this shit that they forced me to do. It's really a lot of stuff that they forced me to do for the last 5 years, and I don't want it anymore. So it is the government up here controlling my mind. If I don't do something they want me to do, or if I reject them, or if I try to commit suicide, they'll punch my brains out 30 times, 40 times in a row. And I'm trying so hard because they're telling me it's the government, right? And they're just blowing at me, and it's hurting my head. And that's just the irony of it, because they won't allow me to commit suicide either, because if I do that, then it's seen that they failed in some way. It has to be this surgery. And if I get an ERCP, they'll cut the vagus nerve on me. So that's just so sick, you know. It's all I did was allow the government to control my thoughts for the last 2 years, and I couldn't control it at all. I'm just telling you now because I've tried everything. I've sued the government. I've sued just change. I wanted something to change, and nothing was changing. They showed me everything beyond the dark net, the deep web. Nothing there was new. Nothing there on the unlocked internet was new, and I just was so frustrated, because I knew that if anything had changed eternally, if we were allowed the eternal freedoms that we deserve, that there would be a whole different government in power right now. And that's the trick, because any rational mind, even the government, if they stayed in, would change substantially in the matter of time of eternity, if we could change eternity. And it's just so sad, because scientists would be on other planets by now. They'd be so far ahead, so far advanced, but they're not. We're just doing the same thing over and over again, the same mathematical principle, the same formula, the same day-to-day routine of stressing ourselves out and doing everything the same way. And it's that the government had control of it at one time, because they created the perfect, in some interpretations, a perfect solution, which was creating all the nations and giving them nuclear weapons and making all this so destructive. And what I'm trying to say is, I just wanted to live my full life and work. I wanted to work, and they're not allowing me to work. So frustrating. I want to go and work somewhere, you know. I get up every day and I can't even wake up. They shut me down. They say sleep, because I'll think about something that will make me want to terminate my own being, right? Because they won't allow me to do anything other than what they want me to do. It's so frustrating. It's not heaven, it's not hell, it's this frustrating beating that I get for not doing what they want. And so it's really insane. I mean, whatever's controlling me, I often thought maybe if I could have done something to myself, if I could have gone to get just get so much out of my system that I needed to cancel myself somehow in the beginning, in the early stages, so the government wouldn't get all these powers, right, that they don't really necessarily need. And the government is just so big, right? And I thought maybe if 3 or 4 years ago, if I could have got euthanasia, that would have done something, because they were pushing me, they were forcing me to go homeless, they were forcing me to do everything, and it was this big play on a trial, some sort of Jesus supreme justice going on inside of me, and it was all wrong, and I just, the Supreme Court can never exist if Jesus is to exist. Jesus would overtake the Supreme Court. That's the all in all. There would be no Supreme Court if Jesus was in power. That's the truth. Jesus is more than Scottish. Scottish should not exist if Jesus is there. Get it? And so it goes. The fact the government feels they're too powerful, that they can consider themselves lucky to do whatever they want to any of us, and they'll stop at nothing. Anonymous too, and I can't even delete my Facebook account. If I go down too far, they'll cancel me because something goes wrong, or the solution to the world goes off, and it's really just sick that I'm stuck with not being able to cancel my Facebook account, not being able to cancel anything that I do, and it's so frustrating. I mean, I'm trying, I'm battling every day, and it's a big mess, and they're saying I have to be this way because the world depends on it, and if I don't do what they do, they'll punch my lights out. They will literally just boom, 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 right? Over and over again, and it really hurts. It's worse than Rafiki, that's for sure. And it's I mean, I pounded my head in a few times. Not saying how hard, but it's hard enough. And it's just miserable weather, and I just wish that I'd have control over my own settings. I mean, nothing. I want my full life. I don't want to be a martyr, you know? It's not something anyone wants. I'm just being human. Don't say I'm being weak, I'm being human. And that's the only thing you need to know. I mean, I'm good and all. I think the future Earth, the future me is holding me down. They're clogging my throat, they're choking me out. I don't want that. Whatever it is, if I'm a clone in the future, if I'm just a speck of dust, it doesn't really matter in the end. I just wanted to say that this has been torture, this has been human control taken to its worst. And I see it all over. I see everyone's control. I see they're all doing the same thing. They can't change. They're refusing to communicate. They can't talk about so much, and they can only just watch, and that's the sad thing. And it's like it's a loss. I can't even sue. It's pretty much just the way you want to die, right? And they'll just take you the way they would take you out. and they want me to die a certain way. What can you do? But I don't really want to die that way. I want to go another way. Jump off a building for for whatever reason, you know. It's wrong. Their control. They're keeping us here, and they're holding our dreams back. They're taking us out one by one. They're giving Percocet to hundreds of thousands that die on it a year, and they're making the teens have suicide because they're allowing them to see all the hate that goes on. And it's just a sad state of affairs, because they're isolating so many too that they're committing suicide. It's not humane. They call it holding up their right. But guess what? The future, if it is the future I'm hoping, they had a revolution, the first future. The future that was first there. And they're controlling this. And that's the government, not this government, but a government so much more advanced. They saw in a light that's different. They don't see it the way Hannibal or whatnot. They see the Saw as a gentle yet determined hope. They see it as a hope. I don't know why. And what else? It's in the Bible. Saw is in the Bible at the beginning. And what does that mean? It means that the future had a revolution, the first future, the future in infinity, and that future in eternity and infinity. But that future has gone the distance. It's developed technologies. It's made it so the people that I look down upon, the dark ones, the ones that aren't seen right because maybe they are seen as haters or not welcome. Guess what? They are redeemed in the eyes of the future. Not this future, not the present government, but a distant, eternal future. And it's our standing, it's our hope that we can fight it, that we can make it so our rights are heard, that we can actually change ourselves and make it so we can actually live in a way that will be suitable for everyone. That means a system where algorithm is so advanced that we can actually change each lifetime to what we need, and we don't have to be stuck in what we call a cloud composium or a sim dissection. That's a dissection of my liver right now because they really hate me for saying this. Oh, it's just so ridiculous, guys. I try every day. I get up and they're feeding me all this stuff, and it's been going on so long. I've had this conversation with you for a long time now, and I need to make this conversation, because if I don't, you guys won't even know that I had these thoughts if I don't actually go through with it. Because the thing is, the only thing that will be shown is my potential outcomes on cloud, and that's not good enough. I have to give it in a format that will actually be able to be understood. Now, I don't know what you guys are going to do, just lay there and get whacked slowly one by one, or whether you're going to fight. But the fact is, you got big corporations, you got government, and you got a whole bunch of haters, and you got nations that are gonna nuke each other to death, and all this is way too much to handle. What we want is our freedoms of equality, freedoms of living to our full potential. That means our full life, and that's being taken away. So think about it. Think about how much I tried to change. Every time. There's no point in suing the same sue if it's not going to come to anything. And what's more, everything you hear or see on the news, on the media, on the internet, the sane child net, is lies. They feed you with lies, everything. What'd you expect? So think about it. If there was anything that was new, I would have known about it by now. And I might have at a moment said, that seems new, but it seems like it's old, given a few seconds later. And that's not coincidence. It's that it took a second for me to go from my conscience to that, to say that that's just same shit, because the thing is, the thing after it is the same, and the thing after that's the same. And so the judgment is that that other thing was the same, because there's no going through your day-to-day activities without seeing that it's recurring again. And that's the sad thing. It's like it has to be a straight line. If it's bumpy or going up and down, it doesn't change the flux. Anyway, I hope I made a little sense. The idea behind it is I am able to see what has changed and what's not, because I've viewed and witnessed all of them, every one of them, doing the same thing. Now, at times I thought that they'd be doing the same thing and doing it differently, but it seems like I've changed in some ways because of certain things that my deja vu has done. I've adapted slowly. Maybe we are adapting very, very slowly, but it's not fast enough, and we've been here way too long. It's going to be so many years, so many lifetimes more, and it's just getting on my nerves, because if the people in power have it, then they're going to do whatever they can to destroy everything. Because anyone who had that power and was able to witness what they've been doing and see everything that they've done would eventually self-destruct. Unless there was a system in place, a system of algorithms that was so advanced that they'd be able to handle it, which I'm asking for a future to do. But they haven't done it, and they should have by now. So what am I saying? I'm saying to everyone that get ready, because hard times are coming. It's going to get hot. And prepare for battle. I know it's hard, but it's the whole thing is going to go bananas again because of the truth, and no one will believe me because no one's really there. They're stuck in their minds till it's opening time. That happens once I die. See, whether I live or die, it's opening time. I could work for the government. I could support them, but they don't want me here. And that's the main thing. I could settle down the tide that comes after I die. Believe me, that tide is overpowering. And it ends the world in so many ways. But the government doesn't want me to be there. They don't believe in me. They never will. So we repeat ourselves. I live, I die, big deal. Big deal. Big fucking deal. The point is, will they ever wake up? I mean, I think the algorithms are that the government is so controlled, they don't even realize how controlled they are. Because if they did, when they read this, they would, or heard this, they would understand that we've been here way too long. Way too long for the same old government. We need something so more advanced. We don't even know why it's so slow. Maybe it's because I'm talking to you too early about this shit. But frankly, I miss my son. I want my son back. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get my son back. That's the only thing I'm asking for, is my son. I want my son back. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I'm considering all the other options I have other than going through with this dirt cloud Bible that I have here. Because guess what? I just want my son back. That's all I want. Thank you. God bless.